Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Erin Wilkinson, and I'm serving as your worship assistant today. I come to this church because, as I learned of the 7 principles, they really spoke to me. I feel this is a time when we could all be more accepting of others, and the values spoken in our principles reinforced how I felt, and that we need to treat others with dignity and compassion and realize that we are all interconnected in this great big world. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We also strive to welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. So whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are also a reproductive justice congregation, which means that we support the reproductive decisions of all people. We encourage everyone to visit our website, brazos-uu.org. During this time of pandemic, and in the midst of our planned building project, the website and our weekly services are our church home. If you might like to contribute your musical talents, if you have a great story to share about your life's journey, or if you have a passion for social justice, we would love to hear from you. If you are interested in getting involved, you can find opportunities through our website. To learn more about our community and what is happening, you can join our email list and our monthly newsletter. And you can also find us on social media by searching UUCBV.
Today's worship service is dedicated to the immigrant and refugee communities around the world who are looking to better their lives and live with dignity. We welcome our guest speaker, Janet Morford, who is a staff member at the Brazos Interfaith Immigration Network.
I invite you to light your own chalice if you have one, as I light our chalice today. Please say our chalice lighting words with us. We light this chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now all please join me in saying our affirmation statement. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Take it. Our Time for All Ages today comes from one of our 6 sources that inform our Unitarian Universalist faith, Jewish and Christian teachings. The story this week is called The Good Samaritan, and it was told by Jesus of Nazareth. One day, a lawyer came to Jesus and asked what he needed to do to live forever or become enlightened. Jesus asked him what the law of the 10 Commandments said. The lawyer answered, to love God above all else and to love your neighbor as yourself. Right, said Jesus. Then the lawyer asked, but teacher, who is my neighbor? In other words, who do I have to treat lovingly? This is the story that Jesus told the man. Once upon a time, a man was walking on a lonely stretch of road between Jerusalem and Jericho. Suddenly, thieves jumped out from the side of the road and surrounded him. Give us your money, they demanded. I need my money, he cried. I have to buy food with this money for myself and my whole family. One of the thieves picked up a rock from the side of the road and hit the man in the head. He fell to the ground with a groan, bleeding. Seeing no one around, the thieves jumped on the man and took everything he had, including his money and his clothing. One of the thieves picked up a stick and hit him hard several times before leaving him on the side of the road. After a time, a priest from the wounded man's country came walking down the road. He saw the man lying on the side of the road and crossed over to the other side as he hurried by. Soon, another man from the wounded man's country came by. He too saw the wounded man lying in the hot sun, and he scurried on by. A long time passed. Flies buzzed around the man who was dying from his injuries. Luckily, someone else was coming down the road. He was a Samaritan riding on his donkey. Now, the people of Samaria were not friendly with the people of this man's country. They were sworn enemies of each other. But the Samaritan man did not hesitate when he saw the man lying by the side of the road. He didn't stop to think about whether he should go help him because of where he was from or what group the man belonged to. He saw that this man needed help and he felt compassion. The Samaritan took healing oil from his bag and cleaned the man's wounds and bound them up with bandages made from the cloth of his own shirt. He covered him with a robe. He gave the man a drink of water and helped the man onto his donkey. Slowly, for the man was in great pain and the road was long, they walked to the next town. There, the Samaritan found an inn and asked the innkeeper to give him what was necessary to make the man comfortable. The next day, the Samaritan gave money to the innkeeper to pay for the wounded man to stay at the inn until he felt better. The Samaritan promised to come back in a few days and pay whatever else was needed to bring the man back to health. When Jesus finished telling this story, he asked the lawyer, which one of these 3 acted like a neighbor to the wounded man? The lawyer said, the Samaritan, the one who showed kindness. Yes, said Jesus. Now go and do the same. We all have inherent dignity and worth just for being born, no matter where we come from or where we are going. This week, show some kindness to someone around you. It will make you and them feel warm and welcome.
Borderlands by Gloria Ansaldúa. South of the border, called North America's rubbish dump by Chicanos, Mexicanos congregate in the plazas to talk about the best way to cross. Smugglers, coyotes, pasadores, enganchadores approach these people or are sought out by them. ¿Qué dicen, muchachos? ¿A echársela de mojado? We are a tradition of migration, a tradition of long walks. Today, we are witnessing la migración de los pueblos mexicanos, the return odyssey to the historical, mythical Aztlán. This time, the traffic is from south to north. El retorno to the promised land first began with the Indians from the interior of Mexico and the mestizos that came with the conquistadores in the 1500s. Immigration continued in the next 3 centuries, and in this century, it continued with the braceros who helped to build our railroads and who picked our fruit. Today, thousands of Mexicans are crossing the border legally and illegally. 10 million people without documents have returned to the Southwest. Faceless, nameless, invisible, taunted with, "Hey, cucaracho," cockroach, trembling with fear, yet filled with courage, a courage born of desperation. Barefoot and uneducated, Mexicans with hands like boot soles gather at night by the river where 2 worlds merge, creating what Reagan calls a front line, a war zone. The convergence has created a shock culture, a border culture, a third country, a closed country. Without benefit of bridges, the mojados, wetbacks, float on inflatable rafts across the Rio Grande, or wade or swim across naked, clutching their clothes over their heads. Holding on to the grass, they pull themselves along the banks with a prayer to Virgen de Guadalupe on their lips. Ay, Virgencita Morena, mi madrecita, dame tu bendición. The Border Patrol hides behind the local McDonald's on the outskirts of Brownsville, Texas, or some other border town. They set traps around the riverbeds beneath the bridge. Hunters in army green uniforms stalk and track these economic refugees by the powerful night vision of electronic sensing devices planted in the ground or mounted on Border Patrol vans. Cornered by flashlights, frisked while their arms stretch over their heads, los mojados are handcuffed, locked in jeeps, and then kicked back across the border. 1 out of every 3 is caught. Some return to enact their rite of passage as many as 3 times a day. Some of those who make it undetected fall prey to Mexican robbers, such as those in Smuggler's Canyon on the American side of the border near Tijuana. As refugees in a homeland that does not want them, many find a welcome hand holding out only suffering, pain, and ignoble death. Those who make it past the checkpoints of the Border Patrol find themselves in the midst of 150 years of racism in Chicano barrios in the Southwest and in big northern city. Living in a no man's borderland, caught between being treated as criminals and being able to eat between resistance and deportation. The illegal refugees are some of the poorest and the most exploited of any people in the United States. It is illegal for Mexicans to work without green cards, but big family combines, farm bosses, and smugglers who bring them in make money off the wetbacks' labor. They don't have to pay federal minimum wages or ensure adequate housing or sanitary conditions. The Mexican woman is especially at risk. Often the coyote, smuggler, doesn't feed her for days or let her go to the bathroom. Often he rapes her and sells her into prostitution. She cannot call on county or state health or economic resources because she doesn't know English and she fears deportation. American employers are quick to take advantage of her helplessness. She can't go home. She sold her house, her furniture, borrowed from friends in order to pay the coyote who charges her $4,000 or $5,000 to smuggle her to Chicago. She may work as a live-in maid for a while for a white, Chicano, or Latino household for as little as $15 a week, or work in the garment industry, do hotel work, isolated and worried about her family back home, afraid of being caught and deported, living with as many as 15 people in one room. The Mexicana suffers serious health problems. Se enferma de los nervios, de alta presión. La mojada, la mujer indocumentada, is doubly threatened in this country. Not only does she have to contend with sexual violence, but like all women, she is prey to a sense of physical helplessness. As a refugee, she leaves the familiar and safe home ground to venture into unknown and possibly dangerous terrain. This is her home, this thin edge of barbed wire.
Good morning. Thank you all for inviting me to talk with you today. I'm going to try to address this question: what can we do for our immigrant neighbors, from the perspective of what I know as part of BIIN, or the Brazos Interfaith Immigration Network. But first, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Janet Morford, and I have lived in College Station since 2017. I am one of your neighbors, an Episcopalian neighbor, as a member of St. Thomas Episcopal Church on George Bush Drive. And after I moved to Texas, I became a BIIN volunteer and worked with a couple different programs over a couple of years. Then since early 2020, I have been a member of the staff. I do a lot of different things, but I work particularly with communications and development. And in this picture, you'll see me with a couple of my colleagues. Top left is BIIN's director, Jamie Washburn. And in the tile below is one of our former interns, Jose Morales, who is now actually works with unaccompanied minors in Houston. I know that our time today is limited, so let me give you a sense of what I propose to share with you. First, I'd like to give you an overview of BIIN and our immigrant neighbors in Brazos County. I want to tell you a little bit about our programs and in particular about our response to the pandemic. And then I'd like to address the question of our impact in the community. Finally, I want to extend some opportunities to you to join us and suggest other things that you can do. So first, let me give you some background on BIIN and its history. BIIN is what we call it in English. In Spanish, it's kind of hard to say BIIN, and so most people say in Spanish, say Brazos Interfaith. It's an organization that was started in 2010 by members of various Bryan College Station churches who were seeking to better meet the needs of immigrant neighbors who showed up asking for different kinds of help. So that's where the interfaith part comes from. However, we do not require membership in any particular faith tradition, either for the people we serve or for the people that work with us. Some of the key features of this grassroots nonprofit organization are that we have a very small staff. There's only 3 of us who work part-time. We have a volunteer working board composed of different people from the community. We have many volunteers and donors also. And the network part refers to the fact that we have come to rely on a number of local organizations. Some are churches or other faith communities. Some are medical clinics. Some are media outlets or school districts. A lot of different organizations help us do what we do. Like all organizations, BIIN is guided by a specific mission. It's to promote the human dignity and well-being of all immigrants in our community, and to advocate for and facilitate better access to legal, educational, and social services. At BIIN, we believe that when all people have access to the information and the services that they need, then it's good for the entire community. And from what I know of your congregation's core values, it seems like this mission and vision are likely to resonate with you as well. So let's look more closely at who exactly are our immigrant neighbors. Here I'm looking at Brazos County and drawing on data from the American Community Survey that was conducted as part of the census. Here's what we know. In Brazos County, about 14% of the population are people who were born outside the United States. Of these people born outside of the United States, almost a third have become naturalized citizens. And many more want to, but the process of naturalization is slow, costly, and difficult. Among the people who are non-citizens, more than half in Brazos County are from Latin America, and primarily from Mexico and the countries of Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. Now, another category that you probably hear used a lot are Latinos. Latinos can, of course, include both native and non-US born folks. They represent about 26% of the county's population. And you may not be surprised to know that about 26% of Latinos live below the federal poverty line, which is already very, very low. And about 26% also report speaking English less than very well in this American Community Survey. These statistics underscore the complexity and the ambiguity of who we mean when we think of our immigrant neighbors here in Brazos County. These are people of many different origins, different immigration statuses, differing resources and language abilities, but they are all our neighbors. They live and work here, they raise families, they pay taxes, and they want to feel at home here. They also contribute to this being a place where any of us may feel at home. I like the term neighbor in part because it suggests this reciprocal relationship. Many of our immigrant neighbors are already well integrated, but some folks need a little help. They may need information skills or confidence that will help them and their families feel more at home. So more specifically, the subset of our immigrant neighbors, or the people that BIIN serves, includes the following. They tend to be people whose first language is not English. They're often from low-income households, which are often under-resourced in many ways. The working adults often do work that is not well paid and often quite precarious. They often do work that does not come with benefits like health insurance. There's often little or limited formal education, or the education that they have is not recognized in the United States. We work with people of varying immigration statuses. Some of our clients are US citizens or are on the path to naturalized citizenship. Others are undocumented workers. We serve mostly adults, but some of our programs specifically target families and children. And historically, we have served primarily residents of Brazos County and the surrounding areas. But with movement to having online programs, we are finding that our reach is extending to other parts of Texas, to other states, and even beyond the United States. Our programs are open to all people, regardless of their faith, their language, ability, their immigration status, or other criteria. And all of our services are offered free of charge. So what exactly does BIIN offer? Our programs and services have grown over the years. We're probably best known for the classes that we offer for adult learners. We offer classes in citizenship to help people prepare for the naturalization exam, and also in conversational English. This is helpful both for the naturalization exam, but also for work, for helping children in school, and for many other purposes. Our longest standing program is what we call IRA, or Information, Referral, and Assistance. This is a program that offers individualized assistance in understanding processes, understanding procedures, getting help with documents, knowing where to go for services. And we essentially offer it on a sort of drop-in basis, and then trained volunteers follow up with people to help them get the assistance and information that they need. Occasionally, we offer workshops on legal or immigration issues. Sometimes we have special programs that are aimed at families, such as how to prepare a family safety plan, or programs that help parents understand the kinds of educational opportunities that are offered by local public schools. Although our programs have changed over time, the common thread is that BIIN works very hard to be a trusted source of information, education, and assistance. And these are all the more vital due to the needs that have been amplified by the pandemic. Where and how does BIIN work and connect with people in the community? Well, we do have a physical location. We have an office and classrooms in Bryan at 2500 South College Avenue. This is, for those of you who know it, this is the former campus of St. Michael's Episcopal School, which now belongs to Grace Bible Church. They are launching a new Midtown campus there. And so we rent an office from them in one of those buildings. However, since March 2020, with the pandemic, we have been mostly online and mostly working remotely. Like most other organizations, BIIN has been forced by the coronavirus pandemic to pivot, to change the way that we do our work. Our operations have largely become remote or online. Since the summer of 2020, all of our classes have been meeting via Zoom. We do occasional workshops via Facebook. Our client assistance program occurs remotely. For a while, we were doing it just by telephone. Then we were doing it in our parking lot. Now we're moved indoors again, but with enhanced precautions. And of course, we do a lot of things like everyone else online as best we can. Besides changing the way that we carry out our established programs, BIIN has also been inspired over the past year and a half to develop some new activities and initiatives. We worked really hard to translate and share vital public health information, such as information on the coronavirus, on where to get tested, on vaccines, on where and how to obtain a vaccine. We've worked with local partners to set up vaccination clinics. We also, for the first time in our history, have offered short-term economic assistance through what we call the BIIN Cares Fund. When many people were receiving stimulus checks, some of us realized that because of the way the CARES Act was defined by Congress, anyone that paid taxes with an ITIN instead of a Social Security number was excluded from receiving stimulus checks, even though they pay taxes. And so this meant that many families, including American citizens who were married to someone who was not an American citizen, did not receive stimulus checks. And so our BIIN Cares Fund was created, and we have managed over about 15 months to collect about $70,000 that has been distributed to immigrant-led households in need to help with the costs of paying for rent and utilities. We've also been working really hard through all of our programs to increase digital literacy and skills among our clients. We've all seen, as our more parts of our lives have moved online, we've all seen how important this is. And so we're trying to continue to increase these skills among the people that we work with. So staying safe, addressing basic needs, and building digital skills are all part of our goals and priorities these days. So I hope that gives you a better sense of what BIIN is and what BIIN has been doing as an organization. You may, of course, wonder what kind of impact BIIN has had in the lives of the people that we serve. So here I want to share with you a short video that features the voice and story of one of our clients. She's a young woman named Maria Nereda, who grew up in Mexico, graduated from college, tried to find work in Mexico, couldn't, moved to Texas, and has eventually become a student in our conversational English classes. Nereda is going to tell her story here in Spanish, but we hope that with the subtitles, you can follow her journey. And please bear with me while I launch the video.
Hola, mi nombre es María Nereida López. Mi familia es de México y participo en las clases de inglés de Brazos Interfaith. Tomé la decisión de venirme a Estados Unidos, de hecho, no con la intención de quedarme primero. Me vine porque después de la universidad yo esperaba tener muchas oportunidades de trabajo. Entonces duré más de un año desempleada sin tener oportunidad ni siquiera de una entrevista de trabajo. Entonces, digamos, mi idea fue cuando me vine aquí a Estados Unidos era tengo que aprender o mejorar mi inglés para poder conseguir algo mejor. Siempre ha sido eso. Entonces con eso me vine en esa intención y empecé a estudiar en BIIN. Y así fue cuando me vine. Yo pensé que tenía inglés como entendible, pero me di cuenta que no. Por eso me metí con ustedes al Brazos Interfaith para mejorar mi inglés, porque dije, es la única manera que yo puedo demostrar que sé expresándolo con el idioma. Porque si no tienes el idioma, aunque tengas 1000 títulos, aquí no sirve. Y fue por eso que entré al BIIN. Y ya cuando tuve la oportunidad de estar ahí, estudiar un poco más, me abrieron una oportunidad de estar como vendedora, pero de aún así quiero seguir más adelante. Las maestras y los voluntarios hacen realmente muy buen esfuerzo y esta clase me gusta porque tienes que perder el miedo, tienes que hablar y tienes que decir y no nos juzgan. Si hablamos y lo decimos mal, nadie dice nada. Somos muy respetuosos entre estudiantes, maestros y voluntarios. En el curso siempre hay como una lectura, entonces pasamos uno por uno de los alumnos, empezamos a leer. Nos escuchan y lo que no pronunciamos bien nos corrigen. Entonces esto es muy bueno. Hay más cosas, hay más servicios que la gente podría aprovechar de lo que ofrece Brazos Interfaith. Por ejemplo, hay un alivio del COVID como pago de renta, luz, agua. Si se nos está atorando un poco el hecho de que la pandemia perdimos trabajo, el trabajo se fue limitando, esa es una buena oportunidad. Tú piensas cuando vienes a otro país de que incluso te van a limitar más de lo que incluso tu país te limitaba. Entonces el hecho de que haya organizaciones y que ayudan a inmigrantes es bastante confortable porque te están ayudando a realizar tus sueños y eso es muy importante porque tú solo es muy, muy difícil y si alguien te apoya es como te da ánimos y sigues adelante. Que si tienes o no estudios universitarios, no importa, si tú vienes a este país, sea Texas, sea cualquier estado del país, tienes que aprender el idioma para salir adelante. Entonces no nos limitemos, no pensemos no es posible, yo no puedo, tienes que tienes que tener otra actitud, tienes que tener una actitud positiva y decir todo es posible. Como padre de tus hijos, quieres que ellos vean en ti un ejemplo a seguir, que es un enorme sacrificio. Pero también sabemos que este país le va a abrir muchas más oportunidades que nuestro país de origen. Entonces, todo lo hacemos pensando en la familia. Entonces, esos sacrificios que hacemos como padre, que tienen que aprovecharlos de ellos para poder salir adelante. Entonces, hay bastantes cosas que ofrece el programa que puede ser útil para cada persona.
So that's the story of Nereida, one of the many people that we are fortunate to call our neighbors. Every time I hear it, I am so impressed with her drive and her commitment to providing a better life for her family. As I said earlier, BIIN offers its classes and programs and services to our neighbors in need without any cost. So how do we manage to do this work? Well, first of all, we rely on volunteers to lead and help with our programs. Jake Mason, who you see at the bottom of this, has been helping to teach English classes for several years. We also have people who show up for as new volunteers and help out in classes. We work and learn a great deal from interns who are often students from local universities. And particularly as we've gone digital, the help of folks like Carolina have been invaluable. We also get support from private foundations, community partners, and individual donors. Among our community partners are several local faith communities who collectively raise and give funds to BIIN as part of their outreach or their efforts to put their faith into action. And we are deeply grateful for every gift of time, talent, or treasure that comes our way. So perhaps the idea of supporting our immigrant neighbors appeals to you, but you're not sure what you can do. Here are some things that you might consider. I would invite you to commit, first of all, to thinking of immigrants as our neighbors and as equally beloved children of God. You can certainly educate yourself and the people in your network, and this is not too hard. There are lots and lots of stories of immigrants in different communities that are now available in books and podcasts and all sorts of media. If you want an easy access to stories of immigrants, I encourage you to subscribe to BIIN's monthly newsletter and to follow our social media posts. A lot of what we share there are stories of immigrants. You may also want to meet people where they are by volunteering with BIIN or with other organizations. We certainly encourage you to donate what you can as an individual or as a church to support this work. And for those of us who have the privilege to have citizenship, we invite you to advocate for policies and laws that treat all people with dignity and respect. If you're wondering what volunteers in BIIN's classes do, or volunteers with BIIN do, many start working in our classes as tutors or helpers. Our citizenship classes meet on Saturdays. Our conversational English classes meet on weeknights. And we always need people who can come and pair up with folks. We do this now online, but very special relationships develop between volunteers and the students that they help. Some of our volunteers also offer other specialized skills, people who can actually teach or lead classes, people who like to work with our client assistance team, who translate documents, make videos, work on fundraising, and so on. As you can see, we need many different skills, and Spanish is, although it's an asset, it is certainly not a requirement. If you'd like more information, I would suggest that a good place to start looking for it is on our website at brazosimigration.com. On the homepage, you'll find buttons for donations, for volunteering, for registering for programs, subscribing to the newsletter. Under contact, you can know where to find us, where to find our social media platforms, and so on. So there's a lot of information available there. You can also switch the entire website into Spanish if you're sharing it with someone who might be interested in it. And if you have questions or comments, I would be happy to answer them. I will be joining you all at the coffee hour at the end of this service. You can also always reach me via email at brazosimmigration.com. I want to thank you again for the invitation to speak with you this morning. I want to thank you also for all that you as individuals and as a faith community are already doing to make this community a place where people can expect to be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of where they come from, regardless of what language they speak, simply because we are human beings and neighbors. Thank you very much.
If we were having worship service in person, this is the time when we would pass the basket. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. This month, we are proud to support the Confronting Our Racism group, or CORG, for July through September. CORG is a coalition of community organizations working to increase our understanding of systemic racism and the ways it impacts individuals in our communities. Please be as generous as you can. If you wish to make an offering, you can mail your check, or for your convenience, you can donate online. On our homepage at brazos-uu.org, you will find our mailing address at the bottom, and you can see a Donate Here link. In the chat box, you will see that link now.
Walked to the border, stood and looked over the line. I had death behind me, in front of me, only life. As I looked around, the crowd stood by. Me and all of these people are gonna cross the line. Got this girl on my arm, gonna walk to the end of the earth. It's gonna be hard, and all we have is hope that it's worth it. The dream of a new life is all that I have in my hand. But all I see in front of me are lines drawn in the sand. I'm a prisoner of lines drawn all over the place. When we draw lines between us, it's a total disgrace. If we got our kids together, we'd all have a good time. We could get out all our maps and erase all the lines. One man said, bug off, but a nice lady said, come right in. It was easy to tell which was love and which one was sin. Love between people is the only thing constant as time. The only thing that divides us are imaginary lines. Oh, I'm a prisoner of lines drawn all over the place. When we draw lines between us, it's a total disgrace. If we got our cares together, we'd all have a good time. So let's get out all of our maps and erase all the lines. Let's get out all of our maps and erase all the lines.
Now please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are gathered together again.
May we hear the melody of life and find ourselves singing harmony. May we be open to the dissonances in the song of the land and its people, that we might be part of the world's urging towards justice, peace, and love. May we feel in our bones the rhythms of life and the land and find ourselves dancing.